Let me ask you something weird. What if the end of civilization doesn't come from nukes, AI overlords, or billionaire space cults, but from something way more ordinary and embarrassingly human? Stupidity. Not the goofy, I microwaved a fork kind of stupidity. I'm talking about a kind of intellectual surrender that's smart-looking on the outside, but hollow on the inside. A stupidity that marches in lab coats, votes confidently, and shares memes with absolute certainty. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a German philosopher and pastor who stood up to the Nazis, believed this was humanity's real weakness. And what he said about it will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about intelligence, morality, and your own mind. So yeah, this one's gonna sting a bit. Stupidity isn't a lack of intelligence, it's a lack of courage. Let's get this straight. Stupidity doesn't mean someone's dumb. Bonhoeffer believed stupidity is moral blindness, not mental dullness. Some of the most dangerously stupid things in history were done by extremely educated, well-spoken, articulate people. Nazis weren't a bunch of cavemen with clubs. They were doctors, lawyers, engineers, people who had degrees, titles, and no spine. Stupidity in this sense is about giving up the responsibility to think for yourself. It's saying, well, that's what everyone else believes, or I'm just doing my job, or the classic, I saw it on the internet, so it must be true. It's not brain failure, it's willpower failure. 2. The experiment that proved Bonhoeffer. Right in the 1960s, a psychologist named Stanley Milgram asked a simple question. How far would people go just because they were told to? He set up an experiment where volunteers thought they were shocking another person for giving wrong answers. No one was really getting shocked, but the volunteers didn't know that. Guess what happened? 65% of people kept pressing buttons labeled extreme danger, just because a guy in a lab coat told them to. They weren't sadists. They weren't uneducated. They were ordinary people who temporarily handed over their conscience. Bonhoeffer would have said, yep, that's the thing I've been warning you about. Modern-day stupidity is digital, profitable, and addictive. Here's where it gets dark and very relevant. Today, stupidity isn't just a problem. It's a business model. Social media doesn't care if you think deeply. It wants you to scroll, click, and rage comment. It's not a digital town square. It's a digital slot machine, and outrage is the jackpot. A 2018 MIT study found that fake news spreads 6 times faster than the truth. Why? Because lies are simple, exciting, and emotionally charged. The truth is usually slow, boring, and filled with uncertainty. So guess which one gets more likes? And algorithms? They're not just feeding you what's true, they're feeding you what keeps you locked in the loop. Your own private echo chamber, made just for you, and 7 billion other echo chambers for everyone else. This isn't stupidity by accident, it's stupidity on demand. The worst part? Stupid people think they're saving the world. Here's what made Bonhoeffer's theory so brutal. Stupid people don't know they're being stupid. In fact, they often believe, with absolute sincerity, that they're being heroes. He wrote, evil always carries the seeds of its own destruction, but stupidity is immune to reason. Let that sink in. Evil eventually crumbles because it knows it's wrong. But stupidity? It wears a smile. It waves a flag. It prays before dinner. It believes it's the good guy, which makes it damn near unbreakable. You can't argue with it. You can't fact-check it, because it thinks it's on a mission from God, or democracy, or doing my own research. That's why it's so dangerous. Not because it's malicious, because it's convinced it's righteous. This isn't just a personal problem. It's a systemic one. Bonhoeffer didn't just call this a flaw in individuals. He saw it as a sociological infection. He noticed that stupidity flourishes in groups, especially when those groups demand obedience, simplicity, or loyalty over truth. Sound familiar? From cults to corporations, political rallies to online mobs. When a crowd forms, thinking tends to die. People don't want to be the outlier, the doubter, the complicated one, so they trade thinking for belonging. Our systems, economic, educational, digital, all reward speed over depth, certainty over curiosity, groupthink over introspection. This isn't a bug, it's the damn operating system. So, how do we fight this? Bonhoeffer believed resisting stupidity was an act of courage. He called it costly grace, choosing the hard path of truth when it would be easier to just go along. Here's what that looks like today. Practice intellectual humility. Say, I don't know more often. It's not weakness, it's power. Slow down your thinking. Before you believe, repost or rage. Pause. Seek disconfirmation. If no one in your circle ever disagrees with you, your brain is in a bubble. Read outside your comfort zone. Explore ideas you normally avoid. Truth isn't always comfortable, but it is worth it. Ask better questions. Not is this right, but what would make me change my mind? This isn't easy, but thinking has never been easy. It's always been a rebellion, especially now. If you found value in this video, don't let it die in the algorithmic void. Subscribe. Join the resistance. This channel is here to challenge assumptions, elevate thought, and bring philosophy down to earth, where it belongs, and drop a comment below. What's one belief you held that you later realized was wrong? And what changed your mind? Your story might be someone else's wake-up call. Let's build a community that thinks before it reacts, that doubts before it believes, that values truth over comfort. Because in a world that rewards confident ignorance, choosing to think is a revolutionary act.